Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 19 of Paranormal Axetvities with your host, Ben Axe. Hey, I appreciate you all. I am here again, coming at you live from WTBdotcom. Like I said, my episodes aren't going to be live weekly, but they're going to be live sometimes. And actually, honestly, I wasn't really going to do an episode this week. I have a whole bunch of crap going on pretty much every day, so I was going to skip this week. I didn't have anybody lined up as a guest on purpose. I didn't really try to get anybody. But then some stuff happened. Starting Sunday, actually. Sunday night, some stuff happened, and I couldn't not talk about it, right? So here we are. So again, before we get rolling here, just a big shout out to alleverythingentertainment.com for making it possible for me to come to you guys live, for making it possible for me to have a huge following that I have. So again, big thanks to all of those guys over there, and a big thanks to all my followers pretty much everywhere, Facebook, Twitter. You guys are all awesome. I have awesome people here that for some reason comment on stuff, and I couldn't appreciate it more. So huge thanks to that. Now that kissing up to you guys is out of the way, let's get rolling to Paranormal Axetvities. And my favorite part of the week is the Axetvities of the week. And it was pointed out to me on a different show called MTO Podcast. He was on the show last week. Awesome guy. And I was listening to his show, and he makes a good point. I'll take that crap off. He makes a great point that let me get my words together here. Each episode is somebody's first episode. And so that's a good point. And I kind of come in here acting like you guys know what I'm talking about, and you probably don't. So just so you guys know, I do a Axetivity of the week, which is, there's so much paranormal shit going on around me in my house or outside my house, wherever, that I decided to start a segment called the Axetivity of the week, which is basically just my personal ghost story that happened that week. I didn't have one last week, and actually, since I've got this kitten, who is right here trying to bite one of my microphones, since I got this kitten, not a whole lot's happened, and that could be for multiple reasons. It could be the fact I started to investigate ghosts. I bought a spirit box. I did a live episode last week, which again, I appreciate you guys watching that, and and I was hoping I didn't piss the ghost off. And that was a thought process of mine. And that's one thing that Danae, my wife, told me, who was very sensitive to the paranormal. She was like, I don't want you to do this crap to piss him off or to close that connection and make him leave. And that was kind of a worry of mine, whether it's, good or not good, whatever, rational or irrational. But it was a thought, because I didn't have anything happen for I think maybe even a week or two. At the end of I guess technically only a little over a week, because at the end of my live episode last Friday, my live investigation, we did have a little bit of activity. But yeah, so I didn't have a whole lot going on, and I was kind of nervous, because people claim that cats are sensitive to the other side, animals in general are sensitive to the other side. And I just watched The Mummy over the weekend, and the mummy was afraid of cats. So I was like, well, shit, maybe these spirits that come around are afraid of the cat. And she's an all-black cat. She's actually hanging out inside that championship belt right now, so that's pretty cute. But she's an all-black cat, and I don't know. I'm not really superstitious, I guess, but I was like, well, maybe they aren't coming around anymore. I don't really think about it too much, because, there's just so much crap going on in the real life here. But then this Sunday happened. So I'm going to start. So this is the official Paranormal Axetivity segment. I know I have a sound clip for you guys to transition, but my main computer is over there. This computer here that is right in front of me is my secondary computer, and all my cool shit's on that computer. I can't reach it right now because of studio issues. So still no sound clip this week, but don't fret. There will be next week, and next week we'll have a sound clip that transitions. But, so, the Paranormal Activity of the Week starts on Saturday. This past Saturday night, or actually Saturday during the day, I was playing PlayStation for the first time, probably in about a month, maybe 2 months. I was sitting in my chair, Saturday afternoon. It was nice and sunny outside, so of course I'm in my dark theater room. And I get up from playing PlayStation for probably 2 or 3 hours, and as soon as I get up, I just feel like a crack in my back, like my back shoulder, for those of you watching, like right here, my back shoulder blade, I guess, my left shoulder blade. I got up, and it just, like, I don't know, it cracked and it hurt real bad after that, which is pathetic. I'm a 32-year-old male, right? There's no reason that getting out of a chair should hurt your back, but being old sucks. So that's where we're at in life. So I got up, my back hurt real bad. The rest of Saturday, it hurt like a motherfucker, like bad. I couldn't do a whole lot. Like I wanted to lay down early because it just hurt that bad. So I think I did actually. I know we had some people over and stuff, but it hurt bad. So then make sure I have all my thoughts here. So yeah, I went to bed and I had to sleep on my back. And I got pretty loaded that night. I drank a lot of alcohol because of how much it hurt. We were around people. Then I hung out with some other people on the computer afterwards. But it hurt bad. So I went to bed. I had to sleep on my back all night. And the next day, Sunday, it hurt the same amount that it did on Saturday. Like the alcohol didn't help. The sleep didn't help. Granted, I probably didn't get the best sleep because of the alcohol. I mean, that's reality, right? But man, like it just hurt bad. And so all day I'm like nagging Danae. I'm like, hey, I need you to massage my back right here, put pressure right here, massage it right here. And you know how loving wives are. They don't do that stuff. So I mean, I got a little bit of a massage from her, but barely any, and it just hurt real. I can still, as I'm talking about it, the pain is coming back just from how much I can remember it hurting over the weekend. So went to bed on Sunday night, still in pain, and still on my side. And again, at this point, it was Sunday. I didn't have anything lined up. I wasn't really planning on doing a podcast this week because of the stuff going on Sunday and all of this week, actually. So, but whatever. So I went to bed, and here's where it gets weird. So I went to bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I wasn't sleep paralysis. I've talked about that on the show before. I know what sleep paralysis feels like. And I woke up and I was awake and I'm on my side and I feel fingers on my back massaging it. Like fingers, not just like a hand going around like I'm doing right now, massaging my own shoulder. I can feel individual fingers putting intense pressure on that area and massaging it. Like even thinking about it right now, it feels good what was happening. I could just feel it. You know what I mean? And I kind of woke up and I was like, oh, this is nice. And I thought Danae had woken up and for some reason decided to be a loving wife and started to massage my back. And and I was my eyes were still closed a little bit and I could just feel the individual fingers massaging. I feel like I'm saying it a lot, but that's what was happening. And then I opened my eyes and Danae is laying in front of me, facing away from me. So I'm like, what the fuck? So then I do one of these. I kicked that kid a few weeks ago. I kicked the shadow kid a few weeks ago. I did the exact same thing. I take my right hand, and I smack back there. So if there is a hand, I want to smack the arm is my thought process, I guess. And I don't know, scare him away. I don't fucking know. But so I did that, and then the pressure stopped. And I turned around and there was nobody there. And it was dark, but the TV was on. And we've been using HBO Max. We actually moved the TV upstairs. So, I don't know if I told you guys before, but after, on Netflix, you guys know this if you watch Netflix, but on Netflix, after 3 episodes, it stops and it goes to that black screen. So it's still kind of dark in your room. But we've been falling asleep to The Big Bang Theory on HBO Max. And so it was still playing. So there was plenty of light in the bedroom that I could turn around and see. And there was nobody there, obviously. And I was just like, what the fuck? And I mean, it was crazy. I still haven't told Danae this story because I don't want her to tell me to stage the house 18 times a day. So she doesn't know any of this. So I'm telling you guys first. But yeah, so that happened. I mean, I was awake. I was plenty conscious. I had no alcohol. Actually, I lied. Full disclosure, I want to be honest with you guys when it comes to the ghost stuff. I had 3 shots of alcohol at 3 p.m. that day. So, 12 hours prior probably. So clearly I wasn't drunk at all. Fully conscious, fully in my right mind. I'm telling you, I had something or somebody was massaging the shit out of my back. But I was like, well, that was weird. And I fell back asleep. Because honestly, this ghost shit doesn't really scare me that much these days. So, if I fell back asleep. And the next morning, I woke up and I went downstairs to drink my coffee. And I was like, man, that was weird. But what I noticed was my back no longer hurt. I mean, it felt 100% better. 100% it felt fine. And I was like, that is insane. So But again, I was like, well, whatever. I didn't really think about it too much because now it's 5 a.m. and I'm not that functional at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. for that matter, but even worse at 5 a.m. So, I poured my coffee, I sat down, and I started watching, and last week I started watching the show called The Unexplained. It's on Hulu, and, like, my morning routine is get up at 5, drink coffee for about 45 minutes, and, watch a show. Tuesdays and Wednesdays I watch wrestling in the morning, but I've been watching The Unexplained here on Mondays. So I turned that show on, and each episode is a different episode. Like the first episode was about a forest that like apparently people commit suicide in, and stuff like that. Like each episode has a different kind of category when it comes like not just paranormal but just weird things. And this episode that I hit play. I didn't look at the description. I just watched it. I've started watching in order last week. I'm only on like episode 2 or 3, I think. But I started this episode, and it was about paranormal healing. It was about people who got super sick, people who got diseases or disabilities that the current medical field can't fix or doesn't know how to fix. They don't know what it is, they don't know what causes it. And it was about people who got that sick or they got that fucked up and they just got healed suddenly. And it was about not just that, but what these people saw while they were in their like coma-like state or subconscious state or whatever. And I thought that was a crazy coincidence that I just had this happen to me for the first time ever. And then the first thing that I watched that morning, totally random, was about that same topic. And I really liked it too because, I've been into the paranormal, I've been into the ghosts, most of my life, as I've explained. But I've never really thought about the physical or the physicality that the paranormal or the spirits can cause. I've seen shit, I've heard shit. I've never been touched. I've never have talked to anybody that has, seriously been touched. I know my wife has had stories of fingers going through her hair and that kind of stuff. So typically it's like negative, I guess, when it comes to like the physicality of spirits that I'm used to. But this is the first time that I've really come across something that was on the positive side of the touching. And I just thought that was a really, really weird coincidence, right? Like, that happened to me, and then it's on my TV right in front of me at 5 a.m. And I've never thought about it, never, seeked it out, suck it out. I don't know the words. It was nuts to me. So let's just get into it. Let's get into the paranormal healing, I guess, is what we've dubbed it here. So that's my story. It's my one and only story of I was in pain. I felt something fix that pain, and it wasn't what I thought it was. And you guys tell me. I have some people chatting here. You guys tell me. Does that sound insane? Does it sound... I don't know what to think of that because, I see shit, and a lot of stuff that I see I kind of put aside. I'm just so used to that. But I've never been touched, and it blew my mind. I woke up and I turned over. There's nothing there. It stopped because I attacked it apparently. But and now that I've been fucking with it, I can feel the pain coming back. So maybe I'll get a free massage tonight when I go to bed. Who knows? It was nice. So let's just get into it. So paranormal healing. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? If there's anybody out there listening to this episode and you have a story about being healed in a paranormal, supernatural, unexplained way, I would love to hear it. I do have one story lined up for you here in just a few minutes. I'm going to get to it. I had one response to my very late question of this topic to the internet world. But so I'm going to tell you the story that I heard. I didn't do any research here. I was going to look up a bunch of stories and tell them to you guys. But then I mowed the grass, and I didn't do it. So I'm just going to tell you what I remember, So I watched the episode yesterday morning, and the first story to come across was a guy, and I don't remember his actual title, but, he was a doctor of some sort. So he's validated, I guess, is their theory with that when they tell you he's a doctor. But yeah, he was a doctor, and he, out of nowhere, he started feeling sick one day, went to the ER, and within 24 hours, he was in a coma. And apparently his brain got it was so inflated, some kind of infection in his brain, that 99% of his brain was literally infected by this disease, whatever the disease was. I don't think the show even told me. I don't think they knew what it was. Or if they did, it was some really long title that nobody that's not in that field could know, right? But yeah, so his brain was just inflated. and he was about dead, and there was nothing they could do. I mean, they had no ideas what to do next. It was happening so quickly they didn't know how to act. And logically, scientifically speaking, he should have been dead already, is what they said. But the guy claimed to have seen beings in the hospital room, like fucking with him. And it wasn't the doctors. I mean, it was a different time, I guess. Again, I should have wrote this stuff down, as I don't do that. But yeah, so basically at the end of the day, the guy saw shadow people or spirits talking to him, messing with him, and then out of nowhere, like very quickly, he was healed. He just magically recovered after experiencing supernatural beings talking to him. Out of nowhere, he recovered. And that was interesting to me. I mean, it blew my mind that was the first story that I saw after I literally felt a massage on my back that hurt for the last 2 days. It was like, that's insane to me, right? And then another story happened to where a very similar occurrence, a lady was put into a, I don't remember exactly the details of the story, because at this point I was probably playing with my cat, let's be honest. but yeah, but the same idea, to where she was sick, the doctors didn't know what it was. She was in a coma, which is a common occurrence when it comes to the afterlife and then coming back to life. There's a lot of things that could be argued, which I'll get to that in 1 second. But this woman had the exact same experience. She was in a coma, she was dying, and then paranormal entities came to her. They were messing with her, they talked to her, and then she magically recovered against all odds. The doctors didn't know what fixed her. They don't know how they fixed her. They don't know what happened, but she woke up and her sickness went away very quickly. And so it was a very similar story to the first individual on the show. And then, so research went back and looked, and there were several thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have just gotten randomly sick, obviously scientific sick, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying that like the ghost infected them and then healed them, but they got very sick, very messed up, coma, whatever, and it's possible that the other side, something paranormal, brought them back to life. Like Evanescence claims, bring me back to life. They did it. They brought him back somehow, some way. And I thought that just blew my mind, guys. It really did. And if I saw that episode on Friday, it probably wouldn't have. You know what I mean? But this from what happened to me this past Sunday night, in the middle of the night, that blew my mind. And now, that being said, we have all heard stories of people in a coma who have, they've seen fire, they've seen a white sky, they've seen a white light, they've seen angels, they've seen family members. These stories aren't new. We've all heard stories like that, to where they died, they were dead for 40 seconds, 50 seconds, maybe even a couple of minutes, and then they were brought back to life. And scientifically, a lot of the arguments suggest that this happens because your brain is still active even after you die for a certain amount of time, and you're just seeing dreamlike instances, right? That's what they kind of dub it up to. I don't really believe that. And I even saw a thing today where, it was like how you see people make memes and they think that, a meme is a fact, and they post them all over the internet. I saw a meme today, and by meme, it was a picture with words on it, and it said, "Did you know that your brain is so active after you die that you know that you're dead?" That's how it was worded, even, so like a third grader wrote it. And I just think, I don't know what, I've never been close to death. Shit, I haven't even been to the ER since I was in third grade. I haven't been hospitalized since before then. I've never really been sick. I think I did have the coronavirus, but I just stayed at home for a couple of weeks and it went away. But I've never been in a coma. I haven't even been checked into a hospital. So my opinion probably isn't the most educated, I guess, as I've had no real experience in this department. But that being said, I think if you die, how can your brain still be seeing things if you're dead? Now, that being said, I guess the definition of death is no heartbeat, right? Or no heart rhythm. Is that what it is? I don't really know, I guess, the definition of death, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with your heart. I was put on heart pills a while back, so I know a little bit about the heart. 4 chambers, right? But I don't buy that. I honestly don't think that, oh, you're like, if you get decapitated, people think or claim to know that you can blink and still be alive for 7 seconds or whatever the fuck it is, and claim to know that you're dead. I don't believe that. That being said, I do feel like some people could be legally dead but technically still alive. So the legal definition could be different from the technical definition. Again, I didn't Google it, so I'm not saying that's facts. I don't go around telling people this shit is fact from listening to my show, but that's probably accurate. I would say there's always technicalities to anything. So I would say there are definitely some cases to where the person wasn't actually dead. The person probably was dreaming. Doctors told him he died, so he took that dream to claim it was real. That has probably happened several times over. However, I do have to firmly believe that, post-death, your spirit goes somewhere. I mean, that has to be the case, right? I believe in ghosts. I believe in spirits. So I have to believe that, once you die, you're going to be seeing something else. Whether it be a white light if you're going to heaven, whether it be fire if you're going to hell. I'm not even sure I believe in heaven and hell. So that's just an example. I'm pretty sure I have told you guys this before, but I believe that there is life after death in the sense of, an alternate reality, an alternate plane of existence. That's my favorite way to put it. Plane of existence is my theory. It's not even my theory. It was told to me by, here's where I'm going to start sounding crazy, so here's where I'm probably going to lose a couple of you guys. But, my wife's younger brother passed away, and she, as she has mentioned in episodes 2 and 3, has had conversations with him in many different ways. And he told her that's the deal. He told her that there are multiple planes of existence, and that once you die, that's where you're at. You're doing things over there, and even to the point where he's active over there. Like there's shit going on. It's not just him floating around, saying hi to his living relatives and that's it, or hanging out in a house, throwing around chains and shit. Like, I mean, there's stuff going on over there that they're a part of. It's a different plane of existence, a different reality that once you die, your spirit, I guess is the way to put it, goes to that side. And again, it's easy to argue, easy to dispute because of all the other things that I also believe in, haunted houses, haunted buildings, haunted locations, demons, evil spirits, that kind of shit. It's a whole, but there's no one thing, you know what I mean? Like, there's all kinds of shit going on in the afterlife. It's possible that's just where he went at that time, the other plane of existence, and who's to say that's the last plane? Let's say I die right now, I go there. Who's to say that there's not a third plane of existence that happens next, then the fourth, and then the fifth, and the sixth? I have no fucking idea. All I can tell you is what I've learned, what I've seen, what I've experienced thus far in life. Now, where was I getting at? I went somewhere with that, and I don't remember because I get lost in my words. But yeah, I mean, so that's basically who's to say, really. So, that being said, paranormal healing. So that's something that's not explored, at least that I haven't explored. And as a ghost hunter, ghost investigators, if you watch those shows, you don't hear them talking about that side of things. All you hear is bumps in the night, chain shaking, lights flickering. You don't hear about this stuff, and that's what's interesting. And again, I wouldn't really even think about it. I've heard, and we've all heard it, but I wouldn't think about it unless it happened to me. So my question is, why? That's what I've been saying from day one. I don't know why this shit is going on. So let's say I'm not insane, or I wasn't dreaming, which I wasn't fucking dreaming. But let's say I wasn't. Who was doing that? Who was healing my back? And I complained about it a lot Sunday. You can ask my wife. If she was here, she's actually due to be home here any minute. She would tell you that I was being a whiny bitch all day long Sunday. So, who would do that and why? Like, it's just, I don't understand. Like, there's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about that other guy who had the brain inflammations. There's nothing special about, well, he's a doctor. Maybe he is special. He heals people. But I don't do that. I don't really, contribute to anybody's life. And the same thing with the other lady. I'm not sure her job was, but, what makes people special that a ghost would come and try to heal you? Like, that's insane to me. And, that's beyond a haunted house. That's beyond anything that we've talked about so far on this show for the most part. So I want to know why. So if you guys have any stories on this, or if you have any experiences on this, send me an email at paranormalaxpodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter at Axetvities. Hit me up on the Facebook at Paranormal Axetvities, because now I'm starting to get in this rabbit hole of the healing shit of paranormal. Because we all hear the negative stuff. We all hear demons try to kill your soul. We all hear of the succubuses who like apparently have sex with you in your sleep and drain your soul that way. We all hear about the evil shit. We all hear about, Waverly Hills Sanitarium, where, we have a dead nurse on the 4th floor and there are demons all over the goddamn place. We all hear the evil stuff because that's what gets ratings. And that's fair. That's what people are interested in, and that's how it's always been, and that's probably how it's always going to be. But I want to also hear the positive stuff. I want to hear this healing stuff, and I want to hear how it happens and why it happens. So was it possible that for all of these cases of the paranormal healing that a ghost just felt sorry for me? And they came over and they're like, you wanted a massage, here's a massage for you. Or, maybe it's something that's, maybe, I don't even know, man. Like, I'm just spitballing here now. I got nothing really productive to say when it comes to that. Yeah, I don't know. But I did ask a story earlier, and I got a response, and I was pumped. I have an old friend. We go back 20 plus years, and since I started this show, she has kind of told me that she's also kind of like myself, but I would say even more intense, experienced paranormal activities, her entire life. And she told me some of the stories already, via text and stuff, and just from the words, very intense. And this person, I'm not going to say her name or anything like that, but this person is very reliable, and going back, everybody that knew her, obviously, respected her, liked her, nicest person in the world. She was a straight A student, as far as I know. I never actually looked at her report card, I guess. But she's always very intelligent, very responsible, very awesome, I guess is the word to use. So if it was anybody else, I probably wouldn't trust them as much as I trust her when it comes to the paranormal stuff, when it comes to the stuff that she's experienced and has dealt with. She is a person that I would, definitely, her word, as far as I am concerned, is just that damn good. So basically I asked, and it was kind of a general question, but I asked if anybody has experienced any kind of healing factors or has been sick to the point of where modern technology couldn't heal them, or the doctors were baffled by what was going on and just miraculously healed from it. So she sent me a story here, and the story doesn't really involve ghosts. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to let you guys decide, and I'm going to kind of break it down with my personal opinions. So her story starts off, I'm just going to read it verbatim because I'm probably not that good at storytelling. So she claims that she used to have these episodes that looked like seizures. Her muscles would start to get stiff and pain would rush over, and then she would start shaking. It happened a lot when she was in 6th grade, and she just had 8 teeth pulled at one time and didn't realize it until years later that her teeth or her mouth, I guess, had gotten infected after the dentist cracked her jaw. So, yes, I said cracked my jaw from pulling a baby tooth. That is pretty crazy. So she had an I can't even read words, echocardiogram done that had many blood tests. Nurses would see her pulse be normal, and then 30 minutes later it would drop, and the temperature would drop and start to freeze up, and she would start to freeze up and shake. 30 minutes later, everything would come back to normal. 6 months later, there were no positive results to figure out what was wrong. Her doctor was fired from his employment for trying to make people healthier, so that's kind of fucked up, and that's a whole different topic that doesn't really fit the paranormal, but I'm sure definitely fits in multiple different podcasts. But she says, kid you not, came from the nurses. He was fired for making people better, and her new doctor just threw horse pills at her. So she ended up decreasing the issues she stopped drinking caffeine and non-healthy foods, which I recently stopped doing non-healthy foods, but it's still not that healthy. And that helped. But she says, so years later, she had these episodes again for high-stress situations, or if she got physically hurt badly. When she turned 18, it got even worse. She had one in her sleep. When she woke up the next morning, she could barely talk and move. And this is, happening for no reason, it sounds like, other than in high-stress situations and pain related instances. But then that happened, and her brother, that was she was living with, came to her rescue and took her to an acupuncturist. He healed her nervous system as much as was repairable, and now she only has them in the arms, and she's now 32 years old. Doctors down the road thought she was nuts, but now with science and autoimmune disease, that could be the case. And in this situation, maybe that is an issue, you know. I mean, if she's 32 now and was 18 that many years ago, what is that? Again, I don't do math. 16 years or something? Something along those lines. So that could be it. But the same person has also sent me several ghost encounters, and I'm hoping to have her on my show. So if you guys, I need you to help me out with her, because I want to get her on, because apparently there's a lot, and I want to know them. So I want you guys to rally and tell her to get on my show. I'm not going to give you her name yet, but just rally. Be like, hey, the person that Ben was talking about, get on the show, and get her on, and we can have all these ghost conversations, because apparently there's a shit ton. So that instance, that story right there, is possible. That was that, what was it called? Autoimmune disease that was helped by acupuncture. But that being said, in her situation, I know her backstory when it comes to the paranormal. Maybe it was the paranormal that kind of helped. I don't really know. But that one does have kind of a logical, scientific result, right? But maybe that's not the case. I don't know. All I know is with mine, on Sunday, my minor PlayStation injury, I felt a massage in the middle of the night. It woke me up, and I assumed it was my wife, so I kept my eyes closed and I did what Chris Jericho does, and I drank it in, man. And after a few minutes, I opened my eyes. She was sitting there sleeping. I did one of these. I was smacked at it. And I wish I didn't, because now I'm thinking maybe I scared the ghost away. You know, like she was like, I'm giving you a massage and you're smacking at me. Fuck you. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it on that side. But again, I am doing it live right now, so I'm going to read some comments here. We're going to kind of go back. Austin thinks it wanted to help me. And that's what I would have to kind of agree with, too. Like, why would these paranormal entities be fixing people like me or healing people like me, healing people like the guys in that episode of, I forget the name of it now, you know, that episode, The Unexplained. Why would anybody, you know, what's their motive? I think it's because they're just nice. That's the only motive that makes sense to me. You know, maybe in my case, you know, it was a deceased loved one. Maybe it was my grandmother or my mother-in-law or somebody I knew who passed away. I was just like, hey, I'll do it for you. Maybe it was the ghost of the house that I've talked about before. Who I don't really think is a ghost, but maybe, you know, we've heard that knocking on episode 4. Maybe it was that person. And I'm like, hey, I don't want you to be in pain. Or, you know, maybe it was just a spirit that I don't know, and that just doesn't want me to be in pain. I don't know. But that's why we're talking, right? We're trying to figure this shit out together. But I just want to talk about that this week. You know, I really don't have a whole lot more to say about it, as I don't really have any other stories lined up other than mine and the few that I saw. But I just thought it was nuts. So again, I know I'm begging you guys to help me out here, but just let me know if you guys have heard of that or have seen that anywhere else. Oh, I don't know if you heard that or not. That was my kitten. She's letting me know. All right, so I do have one more activity of the week, actually. So that was my... And the reason I did this whole episode was because of what happened to me on Sunday. That was my activity of the week that kind of led into my main topic. But I didn't have one last week. I had no ghost stories for you last week that were direct from me, other than my paranormal investigation that I explained. But I have two this week. So that happened on Sunday night. Well, Danae got home last night. Uh-oh. Here's my cat. I don't know if you guys can see her or not, but she's here. So Danae got home last night around, I don't know, 6 o'clock maybe. And we were just kind of bullshitting in the kitchen for a few minutes. And it wasn't much longer after she got home, 5 to 10 minutes, she got home. And we hear a big, loud bang from upstairs. So we stared like, what the fuck was that? So I come up here and look around, and there was nothing. And I've never heard an unexplained bang come from upstairs before in this house. I've lived here for about a year and a half. I've heard a lot of things. I never heard just a loud crash in the middle of the day. So I come up here and I looked. My dog followed me. There was nothing. Nothing at all. And it reminded me of what happened when I was in college. I may have told you guys this story. If I have, I don't remember, so you're going to hear it again. And like I said earlier, every episode is somebody's first episode, so maybe you haven't heard it, even if I did say it before. My cat is pissed. And when I was in college one time, I remember it was Easter weekend, and all my roommates were gone for the night, or for the weekend actually, but me. I was working until that Friday and Saturday. I was working, so I didn't go to my hometown until Sunday. But I came home Friday night, and I opened the door. I opened my door that leads into the kitchen. I walk into the living room. As soon as I walk in, I hear a big crash from upstairs. And I was like, holy shit, that's back in like 09, maybe 2010. I'm not sure if 2010 is the proper term there. But yeah, so it was like 2009, 2010-ish. And I was like, oh shit. I walked upstairs, and I didn't find anything. And this is exactly what it reminded me of. We were talking, and then boom, and it was right after she got home. Yeah, I have no idea what that was. And it could be explained. It could have been something else. You know, we even checked the garage thinking that maybe something crashed in the garage and the sound carried. We found no sign. We have a bunch of like posters and shit like that hung up all over our walls. So, you know, maybe a poster fell. Nope, didn't find anything. There's nothing out of the normal, nothing out of the ordinary. So I'm not sure what that crash was, but maybe that was the rebuttal of healing me. Maybe like a ghost healed me on Sunday night, and then another ghost got pissed, so like they just like stomped on Monday night. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in my house this last couple of days. But yeah, so those are my 2 activities of the week, and that's pretty much all I have with paranormal healing. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up. We're about 45 or 40 minutes in. I think that's a good length of an episode here. So guys, let me know what you think. Please follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow everythingentertainment.com, as they're a great host for all my bullshit. Be sure to follow me also on my wrestling podcast at Regularly Scheduled Hostilities, also available on everythingentertainment.com, on the Facebook, on the Twitter at RSH Wrestling. If you're into sports, my buddy Josh and co-host of RSH has his own show about sports called The Boardroom that is live every Tuesday night, coming up here in about a little over an hour and 20 minutes, so be sure to check that out. All I know is that the Bengals are awesome, and I'll be there chiming that news. So yeah, guys, that's all I have. Be sure to check out all the shows. I know All Everything Entertainment has a bunch of podcasts. We have a weekly lineup that shows you all the live shows we have. I think his name is Archie made the awesome lineup. I believe, if I'm wrong, don't crucify me on that one, who made that, but it looks fucking fantastic. So check that out. We have several shows on there. I know we have Whiskey Cinema every Sunday night. Great show about movies and whiskey. Can't go wrong there. Multiple sports shows. Game Winning Drive. The Boardroom. Obviously RSH Wrestling and the Paranormal Activities. So check us out there. Just so you guys know, I'm still hyping it up. I have a date, August 15th, for my live paranormal investigation / documentary of my hometown, St. Mary's, Ohio. I'll be back at the Evening Leader newspaper building to do an investigation there. I'm very excited for that, along with other interviews and on-site episodes, I guess. So I'm very excited. So be sure to check all of that out, and let's just keep learning about the paranormal together, guys.